don't tell me that business is about products, because it isn't. Like, it absolutely, there are two massive steps that need to go on in order for this thing called a credit card to get handed over, these 4 buttons to get pressed, and this wonderful thing to get transferred into our bank, and everybody to get paid at the end of the month. That's business.
So you have to sort of come down to their level, to speak to them on their level, to be able to get them to understand you. You couldn't sort of say, "Oh, I'm really sorry about that, Mr. Smith."
Yeah.
Because there's no talking to them in that way. So that's why I had to do certain courses and things as to how to deal with different clients, how to when people are kicking off and things like that. Can't imagine in physio you're going to get people.
You'll get the odd one, like once in a blue moon you will, but as a general rule they're very, very nice because we are nice to them.
Yeah.
So we start the game, and again it's the expectations of when they go to the law firm, they're there for a reason, that they've probably made a mistake, and it's like there's an entitlement mentality there because it's getting paid for by somebody else.
Yeah.
So it's like, if you don't do this for me, I'm off somewhere else. I can take this money that I don't have that somebody's going to pay for me to get out of the trouble that I've caused, etc., and give it to somebody else. It's just a screwed up, completely screwed up series of events that put them in your world. He is different. So we've done a lot of the back end work with great service, great reputation, books, newspaper columns, websites that are fabulous, marketing that's fabulous, word of mouth that's fabulous, customer relations that's fabulous. So most of the people who arrive here come from that world. So they've come to us through a series of well-designed paths that we've created over the years. So when they arrive in our world, they're almost expecting this because they've heard about it and they feel it and they get it. And it's the type of client, if you're going to pay me equivalent of whatever, 100 quid a session, you're pretty, it's just the paradox that exists. When they're paying out of their own pocket to get something and they're making their own willingful decision to do business with us, they're looking for certain things over and above just great physiotherapy.
Yeah.
They want to be respected, they want to be known, they want significance, they want to be called by their first name, and most of the times they'll let you lead, but if you don't give it to them, then they'll be off.
Yeah.
So that's what you'll find here. So hopefully that gives you a bit of an understanding of what the difference is. You've got a license to thrill, like literally, that's your goal. Your job is to thrill, not to answer the phone, not to send emails, not to send texts, not to, I was about to say not to make a cup of coffee, but it is. But do it in a way that it is like, you've remembered that there are 2 sugars, you know that it's the Frappuccino that they like. Don't ask them every single week. It's like, hey, for the last 2 weeks you've had Frappuccino. I ain't going to ask you again what you want because you've told me what you want. And remembering those things, if you remember that after week 3, Mrs. Smith comes in here and every week she has a black coffee with 2 sugars or a black coffee with some sweetener, and you remember it on week 3, that to her is more important than what goes on in that treatment room. I promise you. And that's what this business is built on.
Bit of hope for me because I've been let down in the past and no one has really cared about me enough.
Boom. Stop. In a nutshell, that's how my business is built.
Mine too.
On that.
Mine too.
On that. In a heartbeat. That's it. And that guy's done you a favour by actually telling you that. Most of them don't. Because that's what they're feeling. So that is when I talk about this 3% who are ready to say yes. There's a bigger pot of people who are not ready to say yes, but who want what you do. All day long thinking like that. This is what they're like. This is the torture that they go through. I don't really want to do this. Well, why did you call? Well, I kind of want to, but I just don't. Well, would you like to book an appointment? I'm not really sure. Well, is there anything we can do? Like, and this is just going on and on and on in their brains. So this guy doesn't want to book an appointment, yet he's picked up the phone. I don't really want to go ahead with this. Oh, okay, well, why did you call us? Well, I kind of do. Well, do you want to book? Not really. Oh, okay, like, well, where are we going to go? Like, this is the agony and the torture that people go through.
Yeah, so
when you step out, of the 3%, when you step out of that 3 who are moving towards you because of a doctor or a friend, or they're just ultra confident or whatever reason, when you step into this other world, this is what we hear all the time. So this guy requested a report, you got him on the phone, did the courtesy call.
Yes.
And he said, I don't want to come yet because I've been let down, or I'm not ready to do anything.
Yeah, but he felt like a little bit more like trusted because of I was like going to send him out the free back pain report. So he kind of felt more relieved about it, but he said that he didn't want to be just yet. He was going to like still be like a bit sceptical on it with being let down the past, but he was like said he was that one bit further, so he really is.
The best thing you can do with these guys is explain that you've heard it before. This is the type of thing we hear all the time.
Oh right, so go back in that.
It's back to, we hear this story all the time. Listen, and you actually then go on to say, and you open up and be really honest and say, you know what, what's the guy's name? Steve. Let's call him Steve. You know what, Steve? We hear this story all the time. In fact, it's actually one of the reasons we give the free report to people like you. Because we know, and you would be able to graphically explain to him his life without knowing his life by simply saying something like, you know what, Steve? One of the reasons we put these free reports out is because we realise there are so many people out there who are sceptical, they're nervous, they're frightened, and all the way along he's going, that's me, that's me, that's me. And there are so many people who've been let down. They're now confused, they've given up hope, the doctor's told them to rest, the doctor said painkillers, their friend said go and see an acupuncturist or a massage therapist or a chiropractor, and just don't really know what to do. And obviously chuck into the mix the fact that people have actually tried physio and they've been let down and they've had their money taken off them. Well, we appreciate that, but we also know that you still want some help. Is that right, Steve? Yes, it is. Okay, cool, well, you're in the right place, because we built this business for you. In the same way that some people have built a business for pelvic floor people or patients, I built a business for skeptical people. It's a pocket of people. And there are a bigger pocket of people skeptical right now in the world than have pelvic floor problems or back pain or knee pain. I don't know if you've noticed what's going on. It ain't getting anywhere any better. So that conversation, it might not feel comfortable when you're actually saying, like, we hear this all the time and we've built this business for you. But that's what he wants to hear. It's like, we appreciate it, we know this. The reason that we offer you the free information, because what it also does to him, if you have a skeptical customer, like, why are you giving me free information? Why? Again, it's already on alert of being ripped off, so his like whole nervous system is now like looking at everything and listening to everything, studying everything that you do, because he's already been ripped off. So he's on high alert, red alert, to be ripped off again. If you don't tackle here's why we give you the free information, it leaves doubt in his brain. And that doubt can lead to the dissonance and then lead to the, I'm not really sure about you guys. I don't really know why you're doing this. Because they don't understand the process. They have no clue why we're giving away free information. So if you confront that and you say, hey, you know what, Steve? You want to know why we give you the free information? Because we hear this all the time. And if we hear this all the time, he's in the right place. If he's in the right place, he's safe because we cater for him. What is happening in other environments where the cup of coffee is this kind of, well, we'll make you one because like we've kind of been told to do it, and then we'll let our great legal advice turn you into a second time customer, or to get you to come back in 3 years when you buy the house or you sell the house or whatever it would be. My business is built on the front end, and I take for granted that we're going to deliver on the physio anyway, which we do.
Yeah.
Make sense?
Yeah, definitely.
So there's no egos, there's nothing. I've said it a million times and you'll hear me say it over. If I have a gun and you ask me to get rid of a secretary or a physio, those guys are running. Because the business is built on the front end. Starts with the marketing, hits you, hits them. Think about that. Every decision you make to buy something starts with an external piece of communication on a website, on social media right now, in a newspaper, on the TV, on the radio, wherever else you guys are looking. Starts externally. So you have to have that A1. Like, we nailed that and are nailing it and still getting better at it. What's the next thing that's going to happen? What's the next thing they're going to hit? So you guys have seen the thing on the mamas and papas ads all over the internet or all over social, and you see something in the store, Teesside Park, that you want to go and get. What's the next thing you're going to hit? The person. So before I get the product, I'm going to hit the person.
Yeah.
So I'm going to hit their external marketing is going to influence me. The next thing that's going to reinforce my decision is the customer service. So if I've done my brilliant marketing and I've attracted you to Mamas and Papas this weekend because there's a sale on this amazing buggy that you want and you've been thinking about for however long, okay? And you've got your credit card or your IOU from your auntie or whatever you've got, yeah. You've got your license to buy. At that point, you're driving to Teesside Park with the full intention of buying. Yeah. Here's what can go on. If you get treated less than satisfactory in that shop, no matter how much you want that, human beings being human and irrational as shit and would cut their nose off to spite their face. If you get a woman who doesn't respect you, who doesn't understand you, who doesn't give you the time, who doesn't take the time to ask questions about your baby and when it's due and are you having a boy or a girl or are you having a surprise, and whatever you say, she's going to agree with you. Because if you say you're having a surprise, they'll say it's nice to have a surprise. And if you say you're having a boy, it's nice to know because it means you can plan. If she doesn't do that, there's a very strong chance that you won't buy the thing that you drove 20 miles with every intention of getting. Therefore, don't tell me that business is about fucking products, because it isn't. Like, it absolutely, there are two massive steps that need to go on in order for this thing called a credit card to get handed over, these 4 buttons to get pressed, and this wonderful thing to get transferred into our bank, and everybody to get paid at the end of the month. That's business. My prediction to you is within 3 months, you'll start coming in here and going, well, I'm not going there anymore. I went to that shop and they were this, and I went to this coffee shop and they didn't even do this.
Yeah.
We are about to destroy every place that you go for service. Like, it will piss you off. Like, it will piss you off no end. Within 3 months, you will start to come in and you won't even know you're doing it because they've all done it. They'll start to come in and go, well, I went to this place at the weekend and the service was dreadful. And then 3 weeks later, they'll be like, well, I went to so-and-so and she didn't even ask me name. You will start to see all of the things that we teach you to do not happening in 99.9% of the businesses. Yeah. I'm down to about 2 places I can do business with in Article now. Seriously. But there was 3 and I've just got rid of one, which was the chippy at Seaton. That's gone, I've been banished, one of them. I'm going to have to go somewhere else. I can't name and shame. No, they're good. I like them. They are nice. Slightly, not, and here's the thing. So 2 chip shops opposite each other. One possibly just edges it for the fish and the chips, right? Service dreadful. Girl on the counter chewing her gum, effing and blinding, cracking crappy jokes. Awful. Always got something not there. You can never have like Fanta if you want Tango or whatever it is. You just never ever get it right? Over the road, slightly inferior. I would say just slightly inferior fish and chips. But service, different world. Like, my business is going to them from this day forth, forever. I'd been like fighting with myself over which one I go to, but now it's done. It's game on.
Fish and chips dilemma.
It's a fish and chip dilemma. This is the shit that goes on in my life. These are the dilemmas I have to,
This is
like,
the worst thing you've got
like Natalie's, Natalie's dilemma right now is boy or girl, cot, like all this other stuff. Mine is like this one or that one for fish and chips. And long may it continue. So that'll happen to you because of what we'll hopefully teach you and show you, and you'll understand about business. Business is not this simple. Somebody opens a door and gives you the money. Business starts with marketing and this external communication. It's reinforced by amazing connecting and engaging customer service, doing all the shit that you're doing on social media all day long, and every 50-year-old and 60-year-old is in the world right now. We're trying to reproduce those simple, most basic human behaviours in here, and if we can do that, we'll just happen to sell more of those sessions, not the other way around. If we run on that, and we run on how good of a physio we are, we're screwed completely. Not even at the races. This business growth would have stopped at you and maybe like a 10-hour a week receptionist, me, and probably 1 part-time physio. That's where this business would have stopped had we focused on being good physios. It's take for granted that we're going to be good at that, because we are. It's the rest of the stuff that they don't want to accept. Now, that's very difficult for professional people to accept, because if you've been through school and you've been through college and been to university and spent however many thousands of pounds on your education, for somebody like me to come along and say, you know, this like thing that you've got, this degree and these years of knowledge and education, it's actually starting to mean very little now. What's more important is the cup of tea and the 2 sweeteners that you put in, putting the milk and stirring it 3 times clockwise instead of once anti-clockwise. Because those are the little things that are starting to make the difference in business. Business owners all over the world will never accept it, and long may it continue, because it makes it easier for me to be more successful. While they're all stressed to bits, tearing their hair out, one right away from the bloody heart attack ward of the local hospital as a business owner, still fighting, trying to be better at what they do in terms of the product, get off a different track and focus on all of this and that external marketing, and that takes care of itself. You've also come from a world of operators as business owner, as a business owner. Your boss has operated that business. I own and run this business. Wildly different things.
Yeah.
I don't work in it. If I disappear for 6 months, it still runs. You won't have had that in your place, and I know it because they've told me that they can't do it. And that's a completely different thing. And when you can see it from an aerial point of view, it becomes very easy to see what's happening in a business and drive it and grow it. So I'm not as wrapped up in it and caught up in it. In often what I find with managers or owners of businesses who operate the business, they're completely wrapped up in tiny, trivial, tactical stuff that like irritates them on a day-to-day level, rather than being global and strategic and looking at things over like a 3 month and a 6 month and a 9 month and a 12 month plan like what we do. It's very rare that there's any big irrational emotional kick-off or whatever's going on, because everything is over a 12 month period of time, because we're looking at it strategic.
Yeah.
That's a big difference here as well.